The Soviet Union was by no means a paradise on earth. It was a state with a complex and rich history, its victories and defeats, achievements and failures, mistakes and tragedies. Much of what is being told today about the USSR to one degree or another does not advise reality. The topic of the Union is terribly politicized due to the fact that everything that is happening today is a direct or indirect consequence of the degradation of the first socialist country, and then its collapse. USSR is a prison of nations. The national question in the Soviet Union is a very complex and multifaceted topic that cannot be explained even in a few short paragraphs. Fortunately, the Internet knows a lot and remembers almost everything, and therefore, after spending a minimum of time, you can find a lot of interesting information about the situation of large and small nationalities in the USSR. Contrary to popular horror stories, the communists have never been against the national. The communists were against bourgeois nationalism, which serves a single purpose: to rally the nation around a certain circle of people to meet the interests of the latter at the expense of the majority of citizens. Just ask yourself the question: if all nations except Russians were oppressed in the USSR, then why was bilingualism at the official level in every national republic? The national language, national culture, and national history were studied in school. Local publishing houses produced Soviet, Russian, local, national, and world classics of literature in local languages. The same applied to cinema, theatre, animation, and much more. There are a lot of examples of the presence of the national in the USS. 2. Russia in the US has sucked the juices from all the other republics. That's a lie. The Soviet Union was a single economic organism, and the authorities were interested in the uniform development, as far as possible, of all the republics and their regions. The simplest example is Central Asia and its republics. In the end, they were subsidized. No, they were not sitting on Russia's neck. They were subsidized due to the fact that in exchange for raw materials and agricultural resources, the centre returned high-tech goods there, developed infrastructure, industrial production, and even built entire cities. Although a lot was done under the USSR, the republics of that time did not have time to reach any industrial Belarus and Ukraine. The collapse of the country prevented it. Then no one shared anything at all. Everything was common, and many projects were done literally by the whole country. 3. Religion was banned in the US. The USSR declared freedom of conscience. A person could profess any faith or not profess any faith or not profess any. The church in the Soviet Union has not disappeared anywhere. They just took away all her property in the form of temples and monasteries. They became state-owned. Pray to God, so pray, and to Caesar, Caesar, Caesarean. The USSR preserved all the temples that were really valuable from a historical and cultural point of view. Moreover, the authorities took care of them at the expense of budget money. No one forbade citizens to believe, be baptized, visit temples, and perform any other religious activities. Depending on their denomination, what really did not exist in the USSR was the state religion. Active God, fighting in the first 9 years of Soviet power, was due to the fact that in the Russian Empire before the Revolution, a significant part of the clergy were, in fact, civil servants. During the Civil War, many priests and mullahs openly supported the white movement. That neither trust nor sympathy for them from people tired of oppression did not add. At the same time, it is important to understand that the rather biased attitude of the Russian communists towards the church is a product of the negative historical experience of the Russian Empire. In other countries in the 20th century it was different. For example, in Cuba and Italy, the church did not cause such antagonism among the Reds because of other historical introductions. 4. There was no intimacy in the Soviet Union. There was sex in the USSR. Another thing is that morals were tougher. Excuse me, but what did you want? The majority of Soviet citizens are yesterday's peasants. The Russian Empire was, in fact, an agrarian country. The customs of the peasants are simple and harsh. Communism and the scoop have nothing to do with this at all. Among the urban population of the USSR, the morals were already noticeably more modern and softer than those of the village. People's views on life are changing. This is an objective process, and it depends on living conditions. It's just that it often takes generations to change. There's nothing you can do about it.